Hey, Hannah,
Yeah.
do you think we went a little too over the top for this one?
Nah.
Cool. Gotta do this thing because that's the thing I do now. So I don't know about you, but I think my favorite part of the Mario movie as a whole was when Bowser showed up and was like,
You've mama's your last Mia, Mario.
pulls out the AK, he's like, that happened, right?
Sure, of course.
Yeah,
that
we'll go with
happens.
that. So the Super Mario Brothers movie has been in theaters for going on a week now. And to say that it's absolutely blown away box office expectations is actually an understatement. I mean, did you have any idea that this was gonna make...
No.
No! So what we're going to be doing is providing a basic plot breakdown for the movie, and then we're going to be giving you guys some of our thoughts about what we liked and what we disliked about the movie. I'm also going to be throwing out just a little spoiler warning, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, go ahead and click off this video. Please go watch the Mario movie. Show some support for an absolutely incredible animated project. So the very basic premise of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and it was a very basic plot, is that Mario and Luigi are just your average Brooklyn plumbers who stumble upon a warp pipe that catapults them into the Mushroom Kingdom. Luigi is separated from Mario and captured by Bowser, and Mario goes on an adventure with Peach, Toad, and the rest of the gang to free Luigi and save the Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser. There's nothing super complex about it, and I think the best way to probably put it is this is probably the best average movie that you'll ever see.
I would say because the beauty of it is they didn't go off script, if you will. They kind of stuck with the general idea and they made it nostalgic and they didn't try to get too fancy with like the whole plot and everything. But that's the beauty of it.
So I'm not going to hold y'all anymore. We're going to jump right into some of the things that we really enjoyed about this movie. And I'll go ahead and start and say one of the things that I really liked was ironically the Brotherhood relationship between Mario and Luigi. I thought that Charlie Day and Chris Pratt had incredible chemistry together. And the fact that we already have a long history of the Mario Brothers in movies and TV shows and specifically games, I thought it was really cool that Illumination and Nintendo made their relationship the driving force behind this movie.
Yeah, I just loved how they kind of paid homage to the family. So they sit you down in one scene where the entire family is eating, their spaghetti and they're like crazy, like New Yorker, New Jersey, whatever. And there's that father-son kind of like strain and tension.
You'll never be anything, Mario.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where Luigi kind of comes along with Mario and is like, hey man, it's okay. And that's where you kind of see where their brotherly love kind of blooms from. It's just sweet. It's cool to see that dynamic and see where they come from to then go to see where they go.
A perfect example of how healthy their relationship is that they both bring something to the table that the other person doesn't.
Yes.
So they show very early on, which I appreciated, that Mario is a very headstrong, confident, plucky individual who's willing to do whatever it takes to look after his brother and also make a name for them, whereas Luigi is more of the kind of, I guess, passive, more reflective, who will definitely still step up when he needs to. But I like the fact that neither one of them possess the same qualities that the other one has, and in fact they made each other better, which lays the groundwork perfectly for a great relationship.
Yeah, and that's where it took that depth with their relationship with their dad, because Luigi, in a sense, was the safe kid that could just go get any standard job and be successful, and Mario was the dreamer, which is what took them as far as they did in the movie.
I will say another major thing that I loved about this movie was the OST. The soundtrack in this movie was absolutely incredible. Hearing the iconic notes from the Super Mario Bros. Theme song, both at the beginning of the movie and throughout, hearing the underground theme, the da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na,
Brought me right back.
it brought you right back. And again, this is one of those few instances where the movie can get away with straight up catering to their audience. They know who they're targeting, and basically their two main objectives are entertain the kids and reward the long-term fans of Mario.
Kind of like what you were saying about that one underground soundtrack, because we talked about it on the way home, where when I was little and we would play, I think I was like 4 or 5 when my dad had me playing on the whole vintage set or whatever. But I can remember whenever we get to that part, and that it creeped me out as a little kid, and it just like gave me the heebie-jeebies. So hearing it in the movie,
Almost brought you right
it
back.
brought me right back to those moments, which is like how powerful music is, which I think it's so fabulous that they stuck to that, and they again honored those different parts of the games by putting that music in there, because for people like me, it was an automatic flashback, which is powerful.
And it felt less like cheap pandering and more of a love letter to the fans.
Yeah.
Of, you guys have stuck with us all these years, we're gonna put this stuff in there because we know it's a nice little serotonin boost for you guys. The fact that they included the DK rap when they introduced Donkey Kong. They even had the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe theme when they were choosing their carts in the middle of the movie.
And even the A button.
Yeah,
when
they hit the A button.
Lock it in.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
We can't talk about the soundtrack without talking about the most iconic original song that's literally trending on iTunes right now, Peaches by Jack Black. I mean, we're gonna get to Jack Black in a second, but I don't know about you, when I was sitting there watching his rendition of it on screen as Bowser, I don't think it was ever on my Mario movie bingo card to be seeing Bowser singing a song about peaches and saying peaches over and over and over. It was like so cringe, but yet so funny at the same time.
And it was the little details, like on the piano, it said what, Ludwig von Koopa or whatever.
Yeah.
So funny. Like you could miss that in a second, but it's like the little details that really make it, you know?
And I feel like that's a perfect segue to talk about the casting. This was one of those things that when they first released the actors who were going to be voicing these iconic characters, I don't know about you, and I know we talked about this a while back, but I was genuinely concerned because nobody thought Chris Pratt would be a good Mario. And when I heard things like, oh, Keegan-Michael Key's gonna be Toad, Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach, Jack Black is Bowser, Seth Rogen, the world's favorite pothead, is gonna be Donkey Kong.
I was definitely skeptical too, but I feel like there was at least one moment in the movie for each character that you just heard their voice and you're like, yep, that is right. And one of those was Donkey Kong.
Really?
When he did that, you know, the close-up of his face, and he did Seth Rogen's classic laugh. But we both chuckled out loud, and I was like, okay,
yeah.
we're bought in.
But you're absolutely right, because the sign of a good voice actor is you forget who's voicing the character when you're watching the movie. Because then it can take you out of it if you're thinking, oh, that's definitely Chris Pratt. But going back to Chris Pratt, he did not deserve the amount of absolute hatred that he got on the internet when they first announced that he was being cast. I agree that everyone should have been skeptical because we didn't know, but the amount of hatred he got was just absolutely insane. People calling him the most vile names and just talking about how unqualified he is, when in reality, he, just like everybody else in any type of movies or TV shows or any form of media, deserves a chance to see how he does before we judge. Because I thought he was awesome as Mario, and I loved it literally at the beginning of the movie. He does that iconic Mario accent for their little infomercial that they do, just to prove to everybody that he could do the full Mario accent if he wanted to. But I almost liked the scaled down, more Brooklyn like twang, I guess, that he gave, because it allowed him to not be as ear grating throughout the whole movie, and it allowed him to be a little bit more of an everyman. And as for the rest of the voice cast, I would say they were pretty good. I thought Charlie Day, like I mentioned earlier, was great as Luigi, but I don't think there was too many other performances that blew my mind. I thought they were all pretty serviceable.
I actually really liked Keegan-Michael Keel.
Who? You done messed up, Arron!
Keegan-Michael Key.
Keegan-Michael Key. It was a mouthful. As Toad, because, you know, Toad was my brother's favorite character in Mario, like, as long as I can remember. And I never really imagined what a voice would sound like connected to Toad. So there was, you know, they had a lot of freedom to kind of pick whoever they wanted. And I really liked what they interpreted as and using him. So I thought his spunkiness and just his whole, I don't know, personality was entertaining to watch.
Well, I think one of the other major things that I wanted to bring up was the animation. I thought I nudged you like 6 times during the movie where I was like, holy crap, this movie was made so carefully and with so much detail. I mean, every set piece that they were in, whether it was the Mushroom Kingdom, Bowser's Castle, even Brooklyn, the color grading and the references they put in all the backgrounds that they were in, I thought it was incredible.
I think one of my favorite scenes is correct me if I'm wrong, is it Kong? Kong Island or Kong? How do they refer to it?
They basically called it, like, we could call it DK Jungle because that's what they call it, like, in Mario Baseball and stuff. So we could call it DK Jungle.
Well, anyway, I feel like that's the first scene when they get picked up by that really big macho monkey with, like, you know, the glasses and everything. And that was the first time seeing, like, the carts kind of in action because he drives them, you know, to the castle or whatever. And they put on this, like, really awesome like old 70s song.
Take on Me.
Yeah, and I liked that because it was like, I don't know, it was cool.
It was just fun.
Cool. It was fun.
And in a very subtle way, it was them teasing, it wasn't even subtle, it's very obvious, but them showing us that the Kongs used carts to get around made sense as to why they used carts later to, traverse the Rainbow Road. Again, it is kind of heavy-handed, but it at least makes sense in its most bare bones state, where it's like, okay, they went from here to get to there.
It introduced it in a subtle way before they went full throttle into everybody in your car, make your car, whatever, and then go.
Which that whole sequence was awesome, by the way.
Yes.
The entire cart sequence just had me grinning like a little kid the entire way.
Using all the special stuff.
Yeah, and then like having the Rainbow Road shortcut from the 64 game.
Yeah.
That was awesome. It was constant like, do you see this? Do you see what they're doing? It's just awesome stuff. Another thing that I absolutely loved was the fight scenes. I feel like whenever they had a fight scene, which wasn't too often, I thought that the way they shot them and the cinematography was awesome because they had like tracking shots where they would like sweep behind the character. You watch them as they're platforming and jumping over blocks and smashing things, and when Mario and DK team up at the end, they're stomping Goombas and getting powered up and just kicking butt and taking names the entire way through. Just had me grinning like a kid. And it goes without saying that this movie was built for anyone who has any experience with Mario whatsoever. It doesn't matter from what era you're from, whether it's old school, whether it's mid-2000s, whether it's current day. If you want to just have fun and enjoy a movie that is exclusively about Mario and his friends, and kick back, have a good time, take the kids. If you just enjoy Mario yourself, go see it, because we're two grown adults and we are sitting there having the absolute time of our lives. But don't expect anything more than that. If you're going in there expecting to be blown away by the writing or, the in-depth character progressions and arcs, you're not gonna find it. Just go in there with an open mind, have fun, and just enjoy the love letter that Nintendo wrote to us fans.
I think sometimes as adults, it's hard not to go into a kid movie and be like super analytical, but that's the beauty of these movies, is it's supposed to make you, take a break. Enjoy, again, the nostalgia from being a kid, the simple things. Don't overanalyze it to the point where, you ruin your own experience of it, And even if you did that a little bit here, I just think it's very hard to not enjoy this movie, even if, again, you're not a super fan. Because it's just a sweet kid movie about brotherly love and teamwork and friendship, and, those are, all things we can all get behind.
Well, now that y'all have heard our thoughts about the movie, I want to turn it over to you. Have you seen the Super Mario Brothers movie yet? And if you have, I want you to specifically drop a reference in the comments below from the movie that you recognize. It could have been something small, like when they press the A button, or a specific sound that you heard in the background. Let me know which reference in the movie made you do the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where you're just pointing at the screen going, "Whoop, whoop." I didn't really think this far when it came to ratings or reviews or anything like that, but I would say it's like, 3 out of 4 thumbs up? Maybe we'll improve this rating system later on, but until then, give it 3 out of 4 thumbs ups. But with all that out of the way, I want to thank y'all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. I can take this stupid thing. Ow.